in, you know, kind of the same position. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about, again, things you can use to maybe make your day a little bit better. And a lot of times, you know, people might, you know, jump back and forth between, you know, sitting in their chair or standing. And I realize not everyone has a laptop, but laptops are great because, you know, they're very portable. So if you find yourself, you know, if you, how many of you have some kind of standing workstation set up where you're working? Okay, so I see 2 people. All right, so this is gonna be great. So go through, you know, go down to your basement, go into your garage, because I'm sure we all have some of these bins lying around, right? So just find a surface and, you know, just start stacking things until, you know, it's at a good level for you, because unfortunately the problem is, you know, whether you're standing or sitting, a lot of us spend way too much time in this like forward flexion. So what's happening here is, you know, you're not standing upright like this, you know, staring at a screen. You're often looking down. You've got your phone in your hands, or you're even looking down at your laptop. And what this is doing is putting some pressure on your spine. And they say, like, for every inch forward, you know, your head is, it adds about 8 pounds of pressure onto your, you know, spine. And so we see a lot of people in our practice that have chronic headaches. They're really, really tight in their back, and they think the problem is, oh, you know, my back is tight. But the problem is that their chest is tight, you know, their pecs are tight, because again, when you're, you know, sitting or standing, you get into this like forward, you know, posture here, and your shoulders are rolling in a little bit, your pecs are tightening, and then your muscles in the back are lengthening. So, you know, when we get people in our practice, again, they say, oh, you know, my back is tight, I need my back worked on, but we spend a lot of time working on the pecs to open up those shoulders. So with that, I'm gonna come into my first little presentation, or mobility drill, whatever you wanna call it. So I like to do something called shoulder flossing. And what this is just taking your shoulder and your arms through like an entire range of motion, because our shoulders are supposed to move freely. And we get so many people where they can't, you know, raise their arms up or behind them because they get this pain. And I always, you know, I use a yoga strap because I love them and they're great, but not everybody has a strap around their house. But does everybody like have a broom or a Swiffer? I'm totally using my Swiffer right now. So again, I'm all about making things as simple as possible. So I'm just going to show you what you're going to do is you're going to take whatever instrument you have that you can, you know, get a nice wide grip on, and you're going to start out, laptop here. Okay, so you're going to start out this, whatever apparatus. So your broom is going to be right, you know, in front of your thighs here. And I always like to say you want to keep as strong or as wide of a grip as possible to start, because you want to see, this is going to give you a quick assessment of how your shoulder health is. So what you're going to do, and keeping your spine like nice and tall, nice and slow, you're just going to start to bring your arms up and over and behind you. Now, ideally, you should be able to do this without bending your elbows. Now, what I see in the classes that I teach is a lot of people, when they get to about here, they start, you know, compensating, and they start flexing and bending their elbows to get behind them. That's not what you want to do. So if you find you're doing that, widen your grip. And you're also going to find, especially as you start to get, you know, behind you here, you might feel it in your armpits, in your pecs. Like I'm finally back in Pilates, and we finally used hand weights the other day. I didn't know 5 pounds could hurt so much. So I'm really sore. So what you'll, you know, end up doing is, I like to tell people, you know, find kind of those areas of tension and tightness. Look at that. See, Evelyn's coming along. How does that feel? So all you need to do is, and see, Evelyn has a flag. I love it. So just nice and slow. I like to say it's kind of like cleaning out the cobwebs. So get to that point, you know, where it feels good, and just, even if you want to just move up and down a little bit, and then you can bring it back down. So I like to usually do, you know, about 10 to 15 of these in the morning, nice and slow, because again, what this is going to do is help warm up your shoulders and get some fluid moving, get those joints moving, and it's just going to feel good. So I tell people, if there's only one thing that you're going to do that. So again, broom, strap, flag. Krista uses an old necktie from her husband. Trust me, you can figure something out. The next thing I want to show you is a yoga block. Not a lot of us, you know, might have yoga blocks sitting around, but I don't know, do you have like a ream of paper? Do you have an old dictionary? Are you still getting yellow pages delivered to your door? If you are, what you can do is take that block, set it down on the floor, and I like to just stand with one foot on there, and I've got another foot so you can see. So I've got one foot on and one foot off, and all I'm going to do, and the movement is really coming from the standing leg that is on the block. You're just going to kind of shift down, so it's almost like you're jutting your hip out. Sorry, you really can't see me doing this, but you're basically just going to be doing some like rotations in your hip, because the biggest problem that we're having right now with sitting is your hips don't like it. And you know, your hips get tight, everything hurts, and it just doesn't feel good. So we get people coming into our office and they're like, oh, I'm sitting too long. I don't know what else to do. So what you can do, again, grab this block, just kind of like anchor your, you know, self up and down, just kind of shift around, or you can take a chair. So see, look, I can just quickly adjust my workstation here. So I've got my chair here.
Get up and go to class, please.
It's really bad, but it works. So what you want to do is take one foot, put it on your chair, and what this is going to do is going to be a good stretch for your hip flexor here, because again, when you're sitting all day, your hips get tight, your hips get grouchy, your hamstrings may be getting a stretch, but your hips aren't. So you're going to stand, and what I like to do is just get myself into a nice position here, and then I'm going to start to lean my body back a little bit, and where I'm going to feel that is right in the front here. So, you know, when you stand up after sitting for 4 hours on another conference call, and you're like, oh my God, I can't walk, it hurts. You know, those first few steps, you're cramping. Again, your hips just feel grouchy. This is going to make them feel good. So you're going to stand there and start to press your hips forward. You can lean back, and if you want to, you can even bring your arms up and back to intensify it a little bit. You can just hang out and breathe here. You can kind of move around a little bit. You know, I'm a big fan of movement. So, you know, and I like to call, you know, when we're doing a class, I like to call it like seaweed arms. You know, so take and just kind of like wave your arms around. You know, you don't want to be rigid, and I don't really like static stretching. So even if you get into a stretch and it feels good and you're like, oh, I just want to stay there, even if you just kind of rock around a little bit, it's going to feel so much better. So speaking of rocking, I'm going to come on over and we're going to show you a quick little seated hip stretch, because, you know, say you're at the office and, you know, you don't want to put your foot up on the bookcase because it's nasty, right? Because you don't know what's at work. So you can easily just sit here. So you're sitting in your chair and you're going to cross one leg over the other. So you're sitting in this, you know, nice, like almost like a figure 4 position. And honestly, I've been really bad about doing my own mobility lately, because my motto is do as I say, not as I do. And I finally realized after talking to a friend, you know, when she said, she's an esthetician, and she said, you know, I touch people all day. The last thing I want to do is, you know, when I get home, is touch anyone, including myself. And that's kind of it. You know, when I get home from work, I just want to lay on the couch, but I sometimes have to force myself just to lay on the floor and roll around and do some stretching. But this move you can do literally anywhere, even if you're sitting on a seat in an airplane, because they've blocked those middle seats, so you've got room to move around. So you're going to sit here in this, you know, cross-legged position, and you're going to be feeling this like right into your hips, into your glutes, even your hamstrings a little bit. Now, this might be enough for you. If you want to add on to it, what you can do is, with your spine nice and tall, you want to keep your spine straight here. Take a deep breath in, nice and slow. you're just going to hinge forward. So I don't want to see you like lean forward like this. From the side, this is what it's going to look like. Again, my back is going to be nice and straight, and I'm just going to hinge forward from the hips here. So I'm leaning forward. I get to a point where, like, okay, that feels, you know, I'm feeling it right through here. And what you can do, again, is kind of rock around a little bit. Now, if you want to, you can, you know, lean forward even more. But I like to tell people, you know, don't go past that point of comfort. I like to say there's 3 levels of comfortably uncomfortable. There's the, oh yeah, that feels really good, I'm just gonna hang out here. Then there's the, oh, that feels good, but I'm kind of like right on the edge there, but I'm just gonna hang out here for a moment. And then there's the, oh my God, I broke myself. We like to stay out of that. And I like to say, like, we keep people out of the pain cave. So many people are in, you guys are probably all in there hanging out together, and we like to bring you guys out of it. And as one client says, she says, you know, you take me right to the edge when you're stretching me, and then you back off. So that's what I like to do. I kind of, what you're looking for is, you know, it's called like an end feel or an end range. So you want to get to a point right until it starts to get a little more difficult to move, and then you just kind of hang out there. And incorporating your breath, you take a deep breath in, and then on the exhale, you're going to start to hinge forward until you get to that point, and then just kind of hang around. And again, you know, even move back and forth a little bit. So my leg that's on the floor, my foot that's on the floor, I'm just kind of rocking it back and forth here. And, you know, look, Ma, no hands. Like, it couldn't be easier. So that's something, again, everybody needs. So I say, if you're going to do 2 things, do the seated hip stretch and do your shoulder flossing. And lastly, my last prop here is, I've got this awesome little like half foam roller thing, because when you are in your standing workstation, again, you're standing a lot, but why not give your calves a good stretch? So I really like these little half foam, you know, foam rollers here, because you can just pop it down, and then you can stand here and, you know, just stand with like 1 foot down and get an awesome calf stretch. Because yeah, a ball seat, right? Like Sue says, she's got a ball seat instead of a chair. And yeah, if you have one of those, you know, big stability balls, you can absolutely use that. And as I'm standing here stretching my calf, it's stretching, because again, I've been really bad about my own self-care and mobility lately, because I love teaching everybody else how to do it. But, you know, that's about it. And the, you know, the things you want to look out for when, you know, whether you're standing or sitting is, you know, if you have low back pain, if you, again, you stand up after sitting for 3 hours and you're just, you know, kind of hobbling those first few steps, or if you're waking up in the morning and your, you know, shoulder hurts, because we get a lot of people, it's like, oh, my shoulder hurts, so I'm not going to move my arm. But what happens is, you know, that fascia, that connective tissue, it needs to move, and that's how it stays lubricated. That's how things stay loose. So, you know, in our practice, we see a ton of people, again, everything is just so tight and locked up and stuck that, you know, that they don't know what to do. And I tell them, you just got to move your body. Again, you could even just do some dynamic, you know, range of motion here. Again, this is why I say, like, don't do static stretching. I mean, static stretching has its place, but if you want to just, you know, get your body moving and flowing, again, seaweed arms, you know, move those hips around, and just, you know, even do some like hip circles when you're standing, because we get into these habits where, you know, think, oh, I'm at my standing workstation, but I'm not moving, or I'm not changing positions. And I'm the type of person, because I spend most of my day on my feet when I'm at the office. When I don't move a lot, you know, my body starts to get fidgety. So, you know, just kind of find things. Again, grab your broom, grab your blocks, grab your bins, grab whatever you can find, and, you know, just start playing around. A lot of times in the classes that I teach, I'm very well known for completely changing the format the day before the class. And, you know, it's fun. I like to say, you know, don't have a plan, just move in a way that feels good. If it hurts, try to figure out where that hurt is coming from. It may not be necessarily where you think it is. And, you know, just keep your body moving because it's the only one you get. You can return just about everything else. You know, everything has an extended warranty, but I think we've all avoided the warranties on our bodies. So, you know, there's no refunds here, and you only get one of them. You can improve it, but you can't replace it. So hopefully these little steps I've given you today will help you. So does anyone have any questions?
I'm just going to interrupt real quick, first of all, Rebecca, and just let everyone know I'm going to stop the recording.